Hey guys, got an old Comfort Maker air handler here, taken apart. Palace is outside, taking off the outdoor unit. I'm ripping this thing apart. It's a little toasty today. It's going to be in the upper 80s, so in the attic it's going to be a little bit warmer. Plus it's like 80% humidity, which makes it feel awful. So I'm going to rip it apart and take it into pieces downstairs. Start moving on with the rest of the demolition. Have our big old copper coil in here. A little bit dirty, not too bad. Look down there inside, we have the run capacitor Bandit. Has made a mummified capacitor with electrical tape and left the original baby. Just like a loser. Watch this. Thanks, Mike, for that Klein duck knife. I appreciate that. Okay, we have our old duck board triangles there. We're ripping those out. Some of the crossover ducts are coming out too, because we don't need those anymore, obviously, since we're not using the triangles. We're going to save the flex. I'm going to get that one. And way down there, you see there's another duck board triangle that's coming out, so we can run a hard trunk. Guys, I'm trucking down the road. I got a bunch of crap in the back of my truck. It's taking about an hour longer because the supply house wasn't ready when I got there. And then, of course, I had to go to another supply house because they have 5-inch ductwork at this house, so it's not something that everyone stocks. So I had to go down the street to Ari and Michael to pick up the rest of it, which is fine. It's just going to get a late start on an already long day. So hopefully we can make up some time along the way, or else it's going to be a late night for yours truly. Guys, I'm putting some pipe together. I'm going to make a little duct system here. Runs about 30 feet. We have 14-inch pipe running about 15 feet. It's going to reduce to 12. 15 foot of 12, and it's going to reduce all the way down to an 8 that comes right off the end. The reason why I'm putting one right off the end is that I need that room to get the maximum amount of airflow. The trunk runs from down there all the way to about right here. We're putting a run in this little bonus area that used to be a garage. So we need to make sure it gets enough air. There'll be a damper in it to shut it back. Just want to make sure we're not short on airflow to that room. This is our different pieces of trunk duct we have going inside. They're all insulated now. I'm about to take them up in the attic. They're in 5-foot sections because we can't fit 10-foot sections up there, so we're just going to take them up in 5. And by we, I mean me. Palace is on the way. He had some service calls this morning, so he's catching up. I'm gonna go ahead and lift these up in there and get started hanging them. When he gets here, we can cut them in and connect the branch runs to them. Guys, our trunk duct is up in the attic. You can see it there going down to the end. We're gonna tie in some of these runouts, get rid of some of the old flex down there that was running to one of the boots in the converted carport, change it to 8-inch round. Making headway. A little bit warm, but not as bad as yesterday. Hey Mike, do you enjoy pain and suffering?
No.
Tough shit. We're going back in the attic. Well, guys, we got the main trunk line down there, almost completed. We have a couple of things to insulate. We have to run a return way down there too. It's just, the heat is kind of just, it's too much to keep on working non-stop. You can always tell when you start feeling chills and you start getting elevated heart rate, it's time to get down. It's not worth dying for. But we're doing a little bit each day. Tomorrow we'll come back and run that return, and then we'll be over in the platform area here, a little bit closer to everything else. Hey guys, I just left Ari and Michael picking up an air temp unit, Vortex coil, blah blah, a bunch of other crap. We're going to our next change out of the day. We want to make sure we're good and burned out by the end of this day. Which should, I think I got a few more gray hairs coming in there. But we're going to tackle this sumbitch and head home and start it all over again tomorrow back up in the attic. Guys, I'm riding home. As you see, it's getting rather dark outside. Finished the job. Me and Palace went to work on a change out that I've got going, and it's going to be a 3 or 4 day, well, let's be honest, 4 days change out, because the attic is about 120 degrees during the day. It's hard to stay working all day up there. You gotta take a lot of breaks. So what we do is we work till around 2 o'clock and then we hit service calls. But today I had another change out, which was a Vortex coil and heat pump. So we went ahead and did that because it's a little bit simpler to do that, and it cooled off at the end of the day. It was kind of nice. Tonight's actually supposed to be back down into the 50s, so hopefully that translates into a cooler attic tomorrow. But we're gonna get back up in that attic tomorrow, hopefully get the ductwork finished, and then on Friday we'll run the line set the heat pump, and start things up. Tomorrow also got a couple more service calls at the end of the day, so Been real busy the last few days. Gonna have 2 of the change outs done this week. We just finished one, and the other one will be done on Friday. The next week I have 2 more that are waiting for me, so we're gonna go as quick as we can, but you can only do what you can do, and don't be afraid to tell people that you're never gonna make it to their house or it's gonna be a few days, so if they wanna call somebody else, they will. Guys, I'm up here in the attic again, and I'm laying out a return. It's a 14 by 20. Got a return right there. Put it in the ceiling to add a little bit more return air because we got a little bit larger system going in, because we had an unfinished garage that was changed into a finished garage years ago. Just never been warm enough in the winter and cold enough in the summer, so we're adding a return, enlarging the outlet to that area. So, but Mike's going downstairs. He's gonna catch some of the dust and the sheetrock when it falls down, and I'm gonna cut it out. Guys, we have our fan with a duct in the downstairs. We got around 108 up here. We ran the line set right there part of the way outside, so we wouldn't have to do it tomorrow, and so we wouldn't be blocking ourselves off from doing it. I can only imagine what temperature it is back in the hole, but right now we're going to cut these drain lines off, put this new plywood in place, and get ready to put the unit in place. Here we have old Mike in the background back there. You can't see him because he's behind the unit, but he's there. He's there. Yeah, oh, there he is. Okay. He's doing what I've done on this side, except in a much tighter area. Put these collars in for these runouts. I'm going to get a collar in for the top here. We're going to go up to the supply, hopefully with a couple elbows, or maybe a short section of flex helix. That's what's next, so we can get this thing tied in and get out of here while it's still cool up here. Guys, our 2 5-inch supply runs have been taken off. Our 14-inch, that's all hard pipe, ducted up and back, and there's a few more runs on the back that Mike was working on. This way it's kind of a mixture of a solid duct system and a, not to say a flex and box, but some of them do come off the plenum because it's just easier than running a trunk around, because they do double back, and this way I can kind of damper everything at the plenum. If I need to direct some more air, I can. But just the way it worked out on this particular one, leave them down low, people can step across and get back there at the back if they want to. Before there was no access at all, so it is a slight improvement, we'll say. But that's about done. All the supplies are finished, so I'll be working on the return box right here. Mike's cutting in the collar, and then we'll be done with the ductwork. So happy day. Well, don't be a procrastinator, guys. I went to go pick up some stuff, and now Mike will be picking up stuff because I'm sitting beside my truck because the alternator shit the bed. So, unfortunately, a little bit of a delay today. We have a new alternator in the truck. I'm back on the road, heading to the job, going to hopefully finish it today, which lost about 2.5 hours, but you know what? We're gonna finish this shit today. Our new unit in place, our line set is run down, our slim duct is in place. We skipped a few steps here filming because time crunch. Nice little bend right there. Guys, I'm releasing the refrigerant into the system. I have everything brazed up. Gotta cut those drains off, put another strap on the electrical there. We're about to start things up. Palace has been up in the attic half the day. He's probably delirious. So I gotta make sure his heart's still beating, and we're gonna start this thing up. As you see, guys, we have a 2.55 tons. It's a 2.5 ton unit. We're producing between right about 950 CFM. Subcooling is a little bit shy of the mark. We're gonna add some refrigerant. As you see, we're low on the head pressure target. Doing pretty well. Got the probes hooked up. About to add some charge to the unit. It's getting a little bit late in the day. It's about 7 o'clock p.m. So we're going to wrap this thing up so we can head home. And this job will be completed. Got to put another clamp on the wall there. Still haven't done that. But there's always tiny little things. There's always tiny little things at the end of every single job that seem to mount up. Picking up trash, getting the units out of the attic that we were leaving up there so they dry out. The air handler, drain pan, which we've done now. Just got a big pile of trash to find a spot for. The way it always is, so we'll get it done and move on to the next one. Guys, we have 8.4 degrees of subcooling, so we're well within range here, so I'm gonna stop at this point because there'll be a little bit of refrigerant taken out of my hose when I finish the charging, which will probably put us up a little bit higher. Let's see what we got here. It's our supply air. We get about 20 degrees difference. There's our probes. We have 2.51 tons at 30,000 BTUs, 19.8 degree splits. Our airflow is within range as well. It has our estimated airflow between 950 and 1,000 on the iConnect, which I think is right. And we are about done for today. Hello everybody, we are in the truck now, taking that job trash from this week's job off to the dump. Got my 2 associates down here. How's it going, associates?
Hi.
What are we doing now?
We're going to the dump. It's going to be boring.
It's going to be boring, that's correct. Now what are we going to do after that because we have to go to the dump twice?
We're going to get pizza at McDonald's and more McDonald's, and then we're going to Disneyland, and we're going to go to...
Okay, well then, bye.